Hello everybody, it's Transbiology E.V.A here, and I wanted to share two more characters of mine today. These two are E.V.A and Tara. E.V.A is a super old character of mine, while Tara is newer, so you've definitely seen E.V.A before. They belong to a fantasy world that's in my Gateways universe, called E.V.A. I haven't done as much world building for this one, but it has dragons who live on the moon, people who can do magic, and a very warm sunset vibe everywhere. I don't have a concrete project fleshed out for these two yet, but I might go with some sort of a short story series about them, since I think their story suits that. So I'll first be going over their basic information about them, then the artworks I'm drawing, and then more into their backstories. E.V.A is a demigod who lived in a previous life as the moon card. They're non-binary and intersex, use they them pronouns, are around 35, but their story goes through, starts when they're around 25 through when they're 35. Their main magical ability is light manipulation, and they're super anxious, quiet, and pretty emotional, but very kind-hearted as well. Their design is supposed to look like a dragon with their horns and tail, and they're very teal blue to go with the moon theme, but also to contrast against most of their backgrounds, which is warm. Except for their eyes and some small details. For the longest time, these were pure red, but I've recently recolored them to be a bit more of a pinkish red. My favorite part about their design is their skin, which has patterns that are meant to look like vitiligo, with moon crescents sprinkled around. Tara is a mage that specializes in astrology magic. He uses he/him pronouns. Again, same thing, is 35, but his story starts when he was around 25. He's omnisexual, he's human, but he has the ability to use astrology magic, and he's pretty lively, protective, and a bit temperamental at times. His design is meant to be the opposite of E.V.A.'s in almost every way. He has short, fluffy hair, a more mask-cleaning outfit paired with a full face of makeup. His colors are pink, oranges, and gold, except for his blue eyes and details. He has a tattoo that goes around his chest, shoulders, and back, meant to look like dragon eyes, and some facial piercings. He's got one of my favorite designs, and I really enjoy drawing him as much as E.V.A. This video has 4 artworks, one of just Tara, 2 of E.V.A, and 1 with both of them. This first one is of just Tara and was inspired by this back jewelry trend thing that was going on Instagram, but became just its own thing. I've been struggling a bit with my rendering style for quite a while. Actually, I've only recently kind of figured it out, but you're not going to be seeing it in these drawings, unfortunately. But these drawings are still pretty close to what I do now. I was having a really fun time with this one. It's pretty simple, although I did adjust the sketch and initial pose quite a bit. I even almost forgot to render in the jewelry towards the end. Whoops. I'm not the proudest of the background here. I'm also not the biggest fan of the anatomy overall, or how the blues in the background turned out. So maybe I don't actually really like this one all that much, but I worked on it, so I figured I would show it here. The next one is of E.V.A and is a redraw. I'd actually made this one before redesigning them recently, so there'll be just a few design changes. And this is a redraw of this drawing, which I never made a video about, where they're painting a scenery you can't actually see. I kept everything pretty much the same, except for their pose. Last time I drew this, I remember painting the landscape on the canvas was a pretty big challenge, and I think I took the longest to do. But since then, I've gotten a lot faster and was able to get that painted in much quicker. The actual background is an off-white glowy void, and I conveyed that by adding a glow effect around everything. However, there is a grass floor underneath them, and I painted that in. They also have butterflies all around them. Very chill piece to work on. I remember having a fun time working on the first one too, so that's part of the reason why I wanted to redraw it, is so I could just draw it again. This next piece was created right after the redesign. It was super chill to work on. They're in a field full of dandelions with a sunrise sky, and because of all of that, I got to work with a really nice pink sunrise palette for the whole thing. I think the dandelions obviously don't look too much like actual ones, but they do look fluffy. They look very fluffy, and I think that's fun. Not much else to say about this one. It was just really nice to work on. And finally, we have one with the 2 of them in bed in the morning. This is both an illustration and partially concept art for what their house might look like. I struggled quite a bit with proportions for both of them when sketching, and when I transferred it to my PC, I adjusted the whole thing even more to make sure the cropping was right. I decided to challenge myself to not only line the characters, but also the background as well. And once I was done with that, I really wanted to focus on rendering and conveying the contrast between the glow from the window and the shadow of the rest of the room. It took quite a bit of experimenting to get to that point, and even more rendering. Overall, I really like how this one turned out, and I want to make more concept art like this for them in the future. Now that's all the artwork, I'm going to talk more about E.V.A and Tara's story. Also, trigger warning for slight mentions of abuse. It's just a little bit, but just a trigger warning just in case. E.V.A was once the dragon god of the moon along with their dearest friend, who was the sun god. The two of them ended up dying, and even though E.V.A was reincarnated as a demigod, their friend was not. They had spent the majority of their new life living on the moon along with the dragons, who fled there to hide from the humans. They were extremely overprotective of them and extremely over-controlling to an almost abusive degree. They were miserable here not only for this reason, they were also still grieving the loss of their friend. One day they were able to escape from the moon and fell to E.V.A. Although they were finally free, they had to be careful not to get caught by any human organizations that might want them. So they gave themselves a human disguise and went to live in a lone cottage with only a small village nearby. Meanwhile, Tara has been trying to find a new home for himself after being kicked out from his old town for not following proper mage rules. He hated living there anyway, but hasn't had any luck finding a place to stay. That is until he finds a small village with no available shelters, so he's told to check out the nearby cottage. This is when he meets E.V.A and is able to ask them if he can stay. E.V.A's been pretty lonely at this point, which is why they agree. Over time of living together, the two grow feelings for each other, fall in love, and even get married at some point. Earlier into their relationship, Tara learns the truth about E.V.A and promises to help protect them from whatever might harm them. And he does just that as they encounter some conflicts later in the story. This whole story takes place over a decade of them knowing each other, so if this does become a comic, it'll probably be a series of short stories following that. And with that, I'll go ahead and let the rest of the speed paint play, whatever much of it is left. And yeah, thank you for watching so far, and I will see you at the end. thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can check out some of my other works on my channel. I have my big art fight video coming up soon. I've been working on a bunch of artworks, and you can check out my profile if you would like to see all that I've made. And you can also, I'm going to be posting this during the last week of Art Fight, but if you want to draw these two, you can. Their profiles are also there. And I have a lot more projects and stuff in the works, so feel free to subscribe if you want to be caught up with all that. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.